Hi everyone, this is Micaiah Costin with the Athlete section. Today we have a special guest who plays volleyball for the University of Texas, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Rella Binney. I'm a setter at the University of Texas, and I'm a freshman.
And she's also a Hawaii native, and we're gonna get into her story. So I'm really excited. So
Yeah,
tell
me too.
tell me a little bit about the beginning of volleyball for you. How did it all kind of spark and start to lead you to where you are now?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, Volleyball is super popular in Hawaii for girls and for guys, but really popular for girls. And when I was younger, I played a lot of different sports, did a lot of different activities, but sixth grade, like middle school came around, and in middle school you kind of try out for like intermediate teams and figure out what sports you want to do. And I had never played volleyball, and some of my aunts had played, and they were like, "You should try out for volleyball." And I did, and I fell in love and just worked really hard after that to get to where I am.
Nice. I love that. I want to get into your experience in Hawaii later on as well. But how was the whole atmosphere just being involved in such a volleyball filled state and then coming to Texas? Was it a big adjustment or was it kind of the same as far as like the level of skill play, or how was that adjustment going from Hawaii to Texas?
Yeah, I think, well, as a Hawaii player, we aren't as tall as the people in the mainland and in Texas specifically, but we are constantly traveling for club volleyball and we play all these super good girls from the mainland. And so we're exposed to pretty high level volleyball. And I think one thing Hawaii does really well is ball
Mhm.
control. And so that really helped coming here. But Hawaii has such a big love for volleyball. And I think the University of Texas has the same, which I really appreciate. The volleyball community is very loved and they care a lot. Our fans are really cool and they care a lot about our team. So it's good.
Yeah, that is a really good thing. Texas, y'all were back to back national champions in 2022 and 23, I believe. And y'all are just a powerhouse when
Yes.
it comes to volleyball. Last year during the NCAA volleyball championships, I made my bracket and I had Texas and TCU as the final two, and I was hoping to see you guys match up against each other. But yeah, I'm excited.
That would have been fun.
Right? That would have been a fun game. So we'll
Yeah.
see how you guys match up this year. I know y'all gonna have some really big things up y'all's sleeves. With that,
Yeah.
I know you mentioned how big it is already in Texas. Um, Texas was also your dream school growing up. So tell me a little bit about how that came to be and then just the emotions you kind of went through after fulfilling that dream and just feeling, wow, this is something I had when I was younger and now I'm here. Like, how is that for you?
Yeah. It's honestly surreal. Like every day I wake up and I have to think about that because it's like, dang, I actually got here and I actually did what like I dreamed of as a little seventh grader when I just started. And when I was in seventh grade, there was a setter, Jenna Gabriel, who I trained with at home, and she played at Texas. And he and Jarrett, our head coach, has had a Hawaii volleyball player since 2007 on his team, at least one. So he definitely has that tradition going. So just having that dream come true was just honestly insane. It did take a lot of work, but every day I come to the gym and I'm like, dang, I actually made it here. And I'm so grateful. And it honestly makes me want to work harder every day. So,
Wow. That's a really amazing feeling to have. And just to keep pushing you to work even better and get even better in your environment is really great too.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. What are some expectations versus reality when it came to moving down to Texas? What are some things that you kind of expected after going down there, and some things that you kind of didn't realize but are kind of getting used to now while you're down there?
Yeah. I think I had my expectations pretty, I like kind of knew what was going to come. I knew that it was going to be really hard. Texas has an insane level of play. Everyone on our team is insanely talented and everyone can play, and So I knew it was going to be competitive, but I feel like that's where I thrive and that's where I can grow as a person. And I knew that it was going to be challenging and there was going to be some hard days and some like really good days, but I have loved every second of it, even when it was hard and even when it was really good. And all my teammates are awesome, my coaches are awesome. So I think it exceeded my expectations because I love it even more than I thought I would.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
the insanity level of play that Texas has, their reputation is definitely up there when it comes to volleyball, and a lot of things because y'all are
Yeah.
also now in the SEC, and y'all played my alma mater,
Mhm.
University of Georgia, for football. We played you guys twice, and y'all
Yes.
definitely do not play. So, yeah, y'all's y'all's athletics are definitely up there, and it's amazing to see what you guys bring to the table. Um, so do you ever feel like there's any pressure when it comes, like I mentioned earlier, Texas was back-to-back national champions before, not too long ago, and I know they work hard to uphold that reputation for volleyball, to keep the standard, keep the legacy going. Do you ever feel like there's any pressure on you trying to keep that legacy going while you're on the team? And do some of the former players give you guys advice, like Madison Skinner or any other players who kind of were before y'all? Do they train with you guys or give you guys nuggets to carry on, or how does that all the whole team dynamic and everything work with that? Sorry, that's a loaded question.
No, yeah, you're good. That's a great question. I think our older girls definitely like they come back and occasionally talk to us, and they being able to play with a few of them last year was really super cool. And I think it's more of how you want to see it, like it's perspective change. And I think it's not so much pressure, but more of a privilege.
Mm,
And I think everyone plays so good against us because just no matter who our team is, it's just we're Texas. So they always bring their best game, which is so much fun, super competitive. Get to see the best of everyone. And I think it's a privilege that we get to have that pressure on us.
yeah, I feel that. Well, later on, I'm gonna ask a piece of advice that you have in general, but what is one piece of advice that some of the older girls have given you that you kind of take with you to this day?
I think one thing is just sticking with your team. I think people don't realize how important it is to be connected to your teammates, especially at this high level, because when it comes down to those like finishing teams, it's about who can stick together, who has the best culture, like all of those. No matter how talented your team is, it's really about just sticking together as a team, believing, buying in, and just working really hard together to win for each other.
It's all about a team, having that team mentality and not just focusing on oneself on the court, but also thinking about how can I be an asset to my teammates and how can we all build each other up and continue gameplay with each other in a way. So that's a good mindset to
Mhm.
have. What do you think is your best memory on the team so far?
Oh my gosh, that's a really hard question. I This past fall was super fun, just traveling and games and just the adrenaline of like having game day and all of those things are just super cool memories to have. And I think even now, just like having the opportunity to connect with so many new people, like we have freshmen and transfers that just came in and like making those connections again and just like having the opportunity to have another season is just there's constantly memories and cool opportunities being brought my way. So
Yeah.
can't even choose.
I know that's that's so fair, especially I don't know, I feel like there's so much you already was able to experience as a student athlete your freshman year, especially going from
Yeah.
different states. So that's really amazing. Something great to look forward to in the next 3 years that you have down there.
Yeah.
What are some things because you experienced so much already, what are some things you're most looking forward to that you know you'll be able to experience later on in life while you're down there?
Um, Honestly, just like enjoying season more. Like just I think for sure as a freshman I was definitely like living in the moment when games came, but really making sure I'm like where my feet are and being in our gym, Greg, is just another experience, especially when it's like filled. So just making sure I soak that all in, because like now being in off season, me and my teammates were reminiscing and we're like, wow, we really miss that adrenaline rush of playing.
Yeah, those are the best moments to kind of think back on, especially when you had such
Yeah.
great memories with your teammates. That's really fun.
Hmm.
Who do you think was your toughest opponent last year?
Ooh, that's a great question. I mean, obviously we had a lot of tough games. Everyone likes to come out and play their best when they play us. Uh, Obviously our last game against Creighton, they played really, really
Yeah, I saw
well.
that one.
So that was definitely, yeah, that was definitely one of the toughest games. They played really, really good volleyball. Um, but there were so many teams. I mean, volleyball is just progressing so much that there's so many talent across all the teams now that it's just becoming even more competitive, which is so cool to see. But lots of good games this year.
Yeah, for sure. I Volleyball, like you said, it's a growing sport. Like it's always been such a prevalent sport, but now there are a lot more opportunities in the US to continue play after college. There's like two
Yeah.
two or three leagues already, and there's one that's going to be
Mhm.
happening next year under USA Volleyball. And so there's so many opportunities they're trying to provide out there for volleyball players. What are s- is that something that you might be looking into after college, like maybe pro volleyball or volleyball overseas, or what are some goals you have for volleyball in your life in the future?
Yeah. I would love to play either in the US or overseas. It's just so interesting to see. I feel like volleyball is going to change drastically in the next 3 years by the time that my decision has to come for that. So I'm honestly just sitting back and enjoying like watching this progress. I mean, watching Love and all the Texas X's play on the Austin team is so cool, and watching some of my old other teammates that just graduated playing overseas, it's really cool. So I think there's a lot of different opportunities, and I'd love to do either of those wherever life takes me. But yeah, super cool.
Yeah, it is, and it's hard. Like it is really hard to say now because you just never know what it's gonna be in the next 3 years. 2 to 3 years, it can
Exactly. There's so much.
exactly. So that's the good thing about it. It's very exciting
Yeah.
to see, watch everything unfold.
Yeah.
So, what do you think is the toughest moment in your career so far? Whether it was in college or prior to college, what do you think was a moment where you had to really kind of sit back and refocus your goals and just kind of understand yourself a little bit better, on and off the court?
Yeah. I think I have always had a pretty like steady mindset and work ethic and love for volleyball. But I think for other people, I've noticed like if you need to find like the reason why you want to be here and focus on that, because some days it's really hard. Some practices you're like your confidence goes down. Some days are just hard, and that's just life. And that's especially volleyball. Volleyball has a lot of errors and a lot of mistakes, and I think being able to focus in on why you love it so much and why you got here and how you got here is super important. I think knowing, not overthinking
Mm,
often. I think being a serving sub my freshman year and having to actually play and the pressure of being a serving sub, obviously it's not a huge role, but it is like being on the court and having pressure to like make your serve and get them out of system is definitely something you have to learn how to control your emotions and your confidence and not overthink it, but feel comfortable on the court. So there's a lot of different aspects that come to it, but knowing why you want to be here and why you love it so much is super important.
yeah, agreed. And we kind of touched on this a little bit, about you saying that it's definitely a blessing to be able to be surrounded by such greatness where it's kind of like it's great to have that pressure because you guys have such a high level of play. And you already kind of touched on it, but
Yeah.
when it comes to mental strength and kind of like strategies that help you keep pushing forward, obviously it's a little bit different when you're going from school and club play and then going straight to the big stage of collegiate volleyball. What are some things that you had to change in your mindset when it came to adjusting to this new level of play?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's definitely a lot faster like volleyball is just speeding up, and especially being at Texas, it was a big jump to the level of play that I'm at now. But it's also super cool to watch. I think not being too hard on myself is super important. I'm a perfectionist, so I get like really hard on myself and overthink each rep, which is not good, but like working on that and just making sure I have good communication with my coaches and they're helping me. But yeah, I think the mental thing is just, especially in game, just like knowing how to calm your nervous system, breathing, and just like relaxing your body. Because in the first few games, I could like my body would tense up, I'd get really nervous, and then I wouldn't serve how I would when I was in practice and just like in my zone. So learning how to get in my zone in a game setting is super important.
Yeah. It's very easy to get, like, get tense and nervous. I remember I played when I was younger, played club volleyball, and I feel like when it was game time, I was just always so nervous and, like, clammy and tense, like, I
Yeah.
couldn't necessarily enjoy the gameplay because I felt like it's fun, this is my sport, I love this sport, but I'm just so nervous and I can't shut off my mind and just remember the foundation, what we
Yeah.
learned in practice, or remember, the drills that we ran. I'm just over here thinking about what if I mess up. So it's very important,
Yeah.
to have that mindset that you mentioned.
Yeah, for sure.
So how do you think being a student athlete overall has shaped your college experience and just you yourself as a person?
I love student athlete life, especially at the University of Texas. I think I'm one getting a really good education, and our academic advisors and all those people that help us do a really good job of making sure that we stay focused, but also are able to focus on our sport. Uh, and then also, student athletes here at Texas are super close with one another. So we have a lot of like team functions where we hang out with other teams and we see each other at our athlete cafeteria. So it's super fun. We get really close with all those sports, and it's like your own community. So that's really cool, and that's what I really like. Um, and we get to go to each other's games and cheer for one another, which is super cool opportunity. And I honestly really like it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I bet. I can already like imagine it. It's really fun to have that cross intersectionality when it comes to the different sports and the athletes and kind of like understanding each other and supporting each other. It's just a whole big community that's really fun to have.
Yes, totally.
So, if you weren't doing volleyball, you mentioned that you did other sports growing up as well. What sport would you do instead and why?
That's honestly such a hard question because I could not imagine myself doing another sport. I did tennis, swim club, paddling, which is a really big thing in Hawaii, um, and I did a bunch of different dance. But I don't think I could play another sport. I love volleyball, and once I started, I was just like, this is it.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about Hawaii life. How was it growing up in Hawaii? Obviously, it's a little bit different from Texas. And I bet when you go home on your breaks, it's just such a beautiful scenery, just beauty everywhere. I've always wanted to visit Hawaii. Tell me a little bit about your life
Yes.
growing up there and just the whole culture and atmosphere and adjustments you had to make when you left Hawaii, and then adjustments you had to make coming back to Hawaii.
Um, Growing up in Hawaii is, not to be biased, but the best thing ever. And I grew up like by the ocean, in the ocean 24/7, swimming, surfing, doing whatever, just like at the beach a lot if I wasn't playing volleyball. And I think Hawaii is also super family oriented. So everyone is family, everyone's really close. Uh, it's just super focused on like one big community, and everyone knows everyone. So that's what I really appreciate about it. And every time I go back, I think also leaving and coming back has grown my gratitude for Hawaii and the culture and everything. So honestly, it was such a blessing to be able to come to Texas and go back because my appreciation has just tripled in size. Like going to the beach every day when I was home for winter break was awesome. So
Wow, I feel like that's such a dream. That's so nice.
yeah, it is such a dream, and I think going away and coming back made me realize like I really do have such an awesome life here, and all my teammates want to come and stay with me on our break. So that's definitely going to happen soon, which
Ooh,
is
that'd
exciting.
be so fun. A really great vacation.
Yeah,
How do you
exactly. Yeah.
make, correct me if I'm saying this wrong, but Olay, I saw that for your graduation, you had like a bunch of them around your neck and in your arms, and I
Yes.
thought that was so pretty and so cool. How does one make
Yeah.
Olay? And tell me a little bit about the traditions that it kind of follows.
Yeah. That's honestly a really good question. Lays in Hawaii are just, I've just like grown up with it. And then coming here, I'm like, that's really not a thing. But whenever there's a special occasion, a birthday, graduation, a party of any sort, a wedding, at literally anything that you're celebrating, you would make a lei. And basically, you just collect flowers. Obviously, it depends on, there's different flowers and different techniques of making different leis. But you have you could use just a regular needle. Some people use like floss, but you can also use string, and you just string the flowers through the middle and tie it together, and it's as simple as that. Obviously, you can make it more complicated, but it's just something you grow up with, and I'll constantly giving leis to everyone. Um, and it's so fun because on graduation, I had leis up to my face and I couldn't even breathe, and I leis on my hands. It was just a lot, but it was like such a good memory, and you always look forward to that when you're younger because you go to graduation with your leis for your older friends, and then your time comes, and then all your little friends come and give you leis, and it's really special.
That does sound very special and unique. Do you have a favorite flower you like to use when you make your own personal lace?
Yeah, so I think I have two favorites. One is called Plumeria. They have a lot of different varieties, but they smell super, super good. And then Kenny Kenny is my second one. Both are smell heavenly. If you ever get the chance to smell them, they smell amazing, and they're just so pretty and so iconic to Hawaii that it's super cool.
Wow. That's amazing. I really want to be able to go down to Hawaii one day and just experience that whole culture and
Yeah,
atmosphere. It's so beautiful.
yes, it is.
Wow. Well, we're down to our last question. If there was a piece of advice that whether you've taken from some of the girls on your current team or just that anybody's giving you in general, for an athlete who's going through or will go through the same thing you've been through, what will that be?
I think my biggest piece of advice is if you want something, don't give up on that dream because you never know what's going to happen. And if you put your head down and work, you will achieve your goals. That is 100% true. And maybe some of it is by chance, but a lot of it is if you want to work for something, you put your head down and you work and you'll get it. And I think I live by that because I've gotten to where I am by my work ethic and by just working really hard. And I think it's possible for anyone that if they want something enough, they'll work for it.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I really enjoyed listening to your story and getting to know about you and
Yeah.
your experience. Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah. I have Instagram, which is Rella_Binney. And I had TikTok, but I deleted it. But I still have it on my iPad. I'm just not posting as often. But Instagram is definitely my main handle that anyone can reach out if they have any questions or want to follow me.
So for the longest, I haven't had TikTok. But I saw a Reddit post that a friend sent me that where I was able to find a way to get it back. So
Yeah, I
I
know.
have it so far, but I don't know what it's gonna be happening with
Yeah.
that.
I know, it's crazy, but I have it on my iPad, so sometimes I'll make TikToks, but
Nice, nice. Hey,
yes.
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much again for coming up here and talking to me. I wish you great success for the rest of your semester and in your upcoming journey and season. I'm really excited to see what you guys do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so fun.